Greetings, Goddess Body, Mind, Spirit community. This is your Goddess Guru, Tyra Omilade, here to share a word of inspiration with you on your path to self-realization and self-mastery. I hope that this video finds you well and in great spirits. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you is the importance of understanding how the eclipses and retrogrades are some of the most important astrological events that you can focus on, because the eclipses create such great change, but they also give you an area of focus. And the eclipses give you an opportunity to pause and take a break and look back on, what is it that I need to be focused on? Did I miss something? Because if we are in a time like we've been here lately, where the planets are moving forward, they're just moving forward. This is, to a certain degree, my feeling is people have not wanted to really slow down and stay home. In certain places, people are doing great. A lot of people are making this choice, but it's been hard for some people because the planets are moving forward. And when the planets are moving forward, that's what we want to do. We want to take action. We want to do, which in a way, I guess, is sort of good because, we all have been busy doing things to keep ourselves occupied at home. But at some point, it's good for a planet to pause and backtrack so that we get the opportunity to pause and backtrack. Because if all we do is just rush forward, then number one, we may not actually create the best, whatever that thing is. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just, it may not be the best. Okay. And we may not improve it. We may not even appreciate it. Right. There may have been something that we initially picked up, we dropped, but we were just moving forward. We didn't even notice it. We didn't notice that we dropped it, right? So I have come to understand in my studies of astrology, and for me, I live astrology, that when I focus on this energy, it helps me to understand what is the theme in my life. Now, I use different techniques, but two of the first that I started using, and I still use them to this day, are the eclipses and the retrogrades. Now, Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year, right? But Venus and Mars, they only go retrograde once every other year. The personal planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. If those personal planets, okay, so the eclipses involve the Sun and the Moon. The retrogrades involve Mercury, Venus, and Mars. If we experience a shift in any way in those planets, we feel that tangibly in our lives. It creates so much change personally and collectively. We will see the changes. Okay. So my question is, why just, go into this thing blindly? Why not keep up with, okay, when is the retrograde coming? And, what area of life is going to be the focus for me? Or, the eclipses. Most people don't even understand what that means. I used to hear about the eclipses all the time. And one time I heard somebody refer to, like, oh, well, the eclipse in Pisces and Virgo, and it had this effect on me. And I'm like, what? I was like, what? Like, to even know that it was in Pisces and Virgo at the time, I was so impressed. And so if you don't know astrology, but you listen to astrologers and they're like, well, this is, this eclipse is happening in this area of life for your sign. Now, you should try your best to live according to sun, moon, and ascendant, because the ascendant will tell you the most. about how these eclipses are going to manifest in your life. Let's say you don't know your time of birth. It's okay. If you can go according to your sun sign, it's going to work. It's going to still give you quite a bit, right? If you can look at your chart, even if you don't know the time of birth, and if you have a lot of planets in a sign where an eclipse is happening, you might feel that eclipse. So, I started thinking or listening, okay, the eclipses are happening where? Oh, yeah, that's what my focus is. And so now I've started just saying, all right, when I see opportunities, because when you're living according to understanding where is that eclipse happening, then you open yourself up to one of two things. One is an opportunity that you need to take. Two is something you need to let go of, because there's always a part of the eclipse where you're headed in that direction, and there's always a part of the eclipse where you're headed away from that direction. Okay. So understanding eclipses can help you to understand, are you going to change jobs? Are you going to have changes in your relationship? Are you going to experience technology issues perhaps? Or um, are you going to be focused on health and wellness? It has proven to be, it works like a charm. When I do readings for people, I'm telling them this is where the eclipses are happening and this is what you need to do. And I sort of feel like wherever I am in a particular phase, it could be with astrology, it could be with numerology, or whatever the system is that I'm using, it's typically preparing me for the next phase. Okay. So this is one of the reasons to understand eclipses. And then, of course, like I said, with the retrogrades are giving you an opportunity to actually really get this thing right, because the next thing that you're going to do is going to build on whatever that eclipse is. So for me, last year, the eclipses were largely happening in houses that have to do, well, since 2018, maybe, when the eclipses started in um, Cancer and Capricorn. I started learning, just taking classes all the time, especially when it comes to astrology, to a certain degree, some personal development stuff too. Um, just lots of learning. Third and ninth house, lots of learning. And if I hadn't paid attention to it, I may have thought, what's wrong with me? Why am I constantly feeling like I need to buy a course? I'm going to save my money. I'm not going to buy this course. Well, it's time to be buying courses. It's time to be learning new things and improving skills. Okay. That's just a simple example, my example. But, you know, it could manifest there's a lot of ways third and ninth house could manifest. So I know somebody, same eclipses, but it manifested differently for this person. It had almost nothing to do with learning. Like their whole life was shifted because of something related to a third house matter that just kind of, played itself out in a rough way, right? So it all depends on where it's happening in your chart. But if you know it's happening there, then you can actually do something about it, up level, and be ready for that next stage. So please, please, please keep up with your astrology. Know your energy. Live mindfully. This is why I do readings, to help people be able to live mindfully and to stop walking through life like you don't have a flashlight. Hey, you all, please like the video, share the video, and you can always feel free to join my membership site. I share 4 readings, and they're community readings, but I share the roadmap. I share the flashlight 5 times a month in my membership site. I do a weekly reading. I do a monthly reading. I share courses. But you know what? You might want your own personal roadmap. So do not hesitate to order a reading from me, goddessbodymindspirit.com. Hey, may the oracle be your guiding light. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you for being a part of the Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. You take care and happy eclipse and retrograde season. They're afoot. Peace.